Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I am the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 35th anniversary year, and we've had some amazing programming. Thank you all for joining us. We've had both in-person screenings and virtual, and they've both been very successful. One of our favorite programs every year is our comedy block. This year we titled it Let's Laugh Again, and it was very popular. Our audiences had a really good time, and we have some representatives from three of the films today. We're going to let them introduce themselves, and then we're going to jump into some questions. So, do you all want to introduce yourselves? We'll start with Sam, then go to Jude, and then oh, sorry, what would you? Okay,
Sure. My name's Sam McConnell. I'm the director and producer of Brutal.
great,
And I'm Jude Harris, and I am the director of Gay Haircut.
great. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kasra Mohammed. I'm a writer and actor in the Syed Family Christmas Eve Game Night on behalf of our team and director Fazia Mirza.
No, great. We've worked with Fazio so many times over the years. It's been great. Well, first of all, I
Good.
just want to ask you, what made you want to work on your individual films? I'll start. Let's do the same order. We'll start with Sam.
Sure. Yeah, I think like a lot of people during the past couple years with COVID and I really turned to comedy for a little joy.
Yeah.
My taste is generally in drama, but with so much drama and chaos going on, I really kind of gravitate. I wanted to make something that hopefully was going to be fun to make and fun to watch. So I worked with my friend and writer Nick Sidden to develop this script. It's a satire
Hmm.
based in set in a cable news network. I think like everyone around that time, we were really obsessed with news. Between not just the COVID, but insurrection and Black Lives Matter, we were kind of glued to the news, and we were frustrated sometimes that it seemed like people were just concentrating on the next shiny object,
Hmm.
and also a lot of hypocrisy that we saw with obviously people with power, and we thought it was a really ripe environment to for comedy, for satire. So that's where it came from.
Okay, great. Jude.
Well, Gay Haircut came from Krista, my partner on the film and in life, wanting to get a gay haircut to rebrand as a stand-up comic. And it was really, I think, initially going to be a TikTok of her getting a gay haircut in a silly way. And then, it just grew with me saying, well, let's bring in Zach from Jackass and let's like see how far we can push this joke. And that turned into a very fun 2 days of making a short film with friends.
Nice. All right. And tell us a little bit about how the Syed family Christmas Eve game night came about.
Yeah, I feel like between then and now, I've got my gayer haircut, so I resonate with that. um, Syed Family Christmas Eve Game Night, inspired by also true experiences of me bringing my partner home to my sisters for the first time. I'm the baby of three. They are literally my gods. So bringing my partner home to them was a very big deal for me. And I wanted to create a story that centered narratives of Muslim folks and queer folks, BIPOC folks enjoy and be able to center that. And that's something that Fazia really connected to as well. And in that partnership, we created this short, and been really exciting to film it at this festival.
That's nice. Can each of you, I mean, you talked a little bit about how it came about. Were there particular inspirations for this or things that made you want to work on this? What inspired you? We'll go the same order. Sam, you.
Um, I, Inspiration for this, I mean, we drew upon some kind of real life news anchors that we thought were particularly
Yeah.
funny or problematic. The lead in our films, his name's Jack Roth, and he's played by Cheyenne Jackson. And
Hmm.
we had Cheyenne in mind right away. The character is this kind of egomaniacal, uh, um, kind of, self-obsessed, power-hungry guy, but he's really good at what he does,
Yeah.
and wants to stay on top no matter what. Um, so yeah, we pulled from some real anchors that we found particularly kind of funny or problematic. I also, in a previous lifetime, worked at MSNBC for a year.
Yeah.
So, before I went to film school, I was immersed in this world a little bit. So that those memories were kind of fodder for inspiration for sure.
Okay, great.
And then, for Gay Haircut, I think, Kristen and I had our very LA like relationship moment of like the first time you read somebody else's script. And, I read a pilot that she wrote and it was so funny. And we had started dating during the pandemic. She's a stand-up. So it's like I'd only seen like little bits of like her talent as a performer. So I think it really came from just that we have so much fun together and like trying to find the way to do something in the weird time and like, having that like 2 weeks where it was kind of sort of okay to shoot something together and really just wanting to collaborate on that level after having so much fun dating.
Of that. I think so for me, there was that aspect of the real thing of introducing my partner, who's also the producer,
Exactly.
to my sisters. And I think also at the time though, I wrote it back in 2019, and there was sort of like a cathartic thing with it of if I can, and at that point, my partner was still getting integrated in my family. And I needed to write it. I needed it to have a happy ending so I could sort of imagine a happy ending for myself. And I think in that way, when I initially wrote it, it was sort of just like, I got to get this out. I have to be able to see something positive. So that's sort of what it did for me.
So much of the last couple of years during COVID, we've all had to do virtual film festival experiences and watch movies at home. We're getting to the point now where festivals are live again, and we're able to enjoy film festivals and films like this with an audience. What's it been like for you all the last couple of years, and what's it like to be able to watch this film with an audience again? And we'll keep the same order as we have before.
Yeah, I made my previous short, was called The Hunter, and I finished it and was starting to submit to festivals right when COVID hit. So that whole film really was just the experience of doing virtual festivals. This one was I can't even put into words how wonderful it was to be back in the theater. I think especially with comedy, there's something really powerful about being in an audience with a group, and there's just that kind of laughter is contagious. And as a filmmaker, to be able to sit there with an audience and hear how jokes land and hear how people respond to different lines or moments, yeah, it's so gratifying. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, I think having released a couple projects just virtually, it was so fun I mean, just to be in a theater and share, because art making has felt so private and kind of lonely for the last few years. So um, I felt like it was like the least worried I'd ever been for a screening was like the premiere of this, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just so fun. And even if they hate it, we're all in the same room together, like having an opinion about the same thing and like hearing some art. It's so nice to be back. And I think I realized how much I'd taken for granted about that experience.
I agree with that. I feel like it feels like everything. Like if it feels like the reason of doing it. And like there I think there's something immensely rewarding as Jude and Sam were saying to hear the laughter and be there and see how it's received. And its impact. I think now more than ever I appreciate the impact of what this kind of storytelling can do in a way that I knew it was there before, but now to experience it in community,
Yeah,
it's everything.
that's great. I want to ask you all one last question. Um, let's talk a little bit about representation, why it's important for queer directors to tell these stories and why it's important to have positive LGBT representation and positive portrayals?
Good question. I I think firstly because our stories are important and powerful.
Yeah.
For my film, we have a lot of queer characters in the film. Not every character is queer. We had uh, queer actors, we have trans actor. We had some two straight actors who are very much allies, but it was very much a ton of people behind the camera were queer and very diverse, and it made for a really wonderful, rich, rewarding experience. Um, but yeah, representation matters. Our our main character, especially, is not necessarily the most positive portrayal, but I think being able to have um, some bad characters, some naughty characters. There's something also kind of powerful in that.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, gay haircut. It's funny. It's there's no trans characters on screen, but there were a lot of us trans folks who made it together, and I think it was made in the time when there were so many headlines about the Netflix walkouts and Chappelle and the jokes that you can't tell about trans people, and you know dating a stand-up, it's like I've heard a lot of jokes about at least one trans person
Yeah.
that are hilarious and can hit hard and still be kind and respectful. So I think that's the piece of it that was special to me, is that the core conceit of the film is that she has to retire a dick joke because she can't make it anymore now that she's dating a trans girl. And I'm like, I love that. And it's like, let's wrap that in family and friends and like show the community around like, wow, this joke is dicey and I'm gonna get canceled, and show that like that humor is allowed, and that, if it comes from a place of kindness and understanding, that even though there's no trans character on screen, that hopefully that point of view is coming through.
Okay.
I think it feels important to control our own narratives, because in that way, then we're able to tell nuanced narratives of our own stories, and that's the most humanizing thing. Like that aspect of like the very specific nuanced dick joke, like that sounds hilarious, and I feel like we need more of that. We need more of those sort of things that we can laugh together about, but also just see each other in different ways about. And I think comedy does that specifically, and these positive narratives round out historically the stories of our queer folks, and even more so specifically BIPOC and Muslim folks, that have been told more through a white straight gaze. So in that, I feel like it's what we need.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. The program is Let's Laugh Again. It played in person Saturday, September 24th at Out on Film. It is now streaming through Sunday, October 9th. The response has been great. If you have not seen these shorts yet, shame on you. You have an opportunity to see them again this weekend. They're all very, very funny. The films, again, we have talent from Brutal today, Gay Haircut, and the Syed Family Christmas Eve game night, which our audiences have loved so much. Thank you all for making these films. Thank you all for sharing these films with our audience. And most importantly, thank you all for sharing time with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much.
Meet y'all.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.